welcome to Basketball Talk Pro. I'm Ron Ekker. Last session we had, I promised you that I would, in this session, show you regular action film of the breakdowns, the fast break to transition and the no plays. We have 7 clips. It's Golden State versus Brooklyn. And really, we got some pretty good clips, but I want you to make note of a couple things. First of all, we did all of these clips in a period of 3 minutes and I think about 35 seconds. You can look at the game clock yourself, but and also be very alert to look at the shot clock, the 24-second clock, especially when we have fast breaks and when they break down. I draw your attention to most of it. We spend, the sessions are, the clips are pretty short, but we do some explanations that I felt were important. I want you to be very clear in this area so that you can make accurate evaluations of your team's play. But the amount of third element time, as I said, it accumulates in just 3 and 35 minutes will show you how important it is to have something prepared for those breakdowns and those no plays and transition. I think you'll see it pretty clearly in this film. I'm just going to let the films run, the clips run from one to another. I think you'll be able to see the difference without any explanation. And then I'll just briefly tie it all together at the end. Okay, this is Golden State at Brooklyn, and Golden State's got the ball there in dark, and this is a reasonably easy one to evaluate as to where the points are distributed, to the play or to the breakdown.
Puts it up and in. That ended the Warriors.
Now this is I want to turn that volume down so we don't hear what the announcers are saying. But Golden State starts their offense out very high, probably because they're small and quick, and they want to leave that basket area open. Here's the play. You can see how high everybody is. This guy would be kind of like a 3. Guy over here like a 4. Of course, this is 1 and 2. Maybe could be a 3 on their team. It's hard to tell. But he enters. He's going away. Almost cuts like our 2. They just reverse it. It helps that they're out high because it's easier to reverse it from out there. Those players aren't going to come out. You can see they're playing back. The reverse, and then they hit the post up. But here's a pretty nice split, and they execute it pretty well. Right here, see the guy holds up. He has patience. This man right here. He's going to set the screen on this guy, which is Curry. You see, good timing on that. They've practiced that a lot to get that kind of timing. But, he kind of fights him over the top. Curry takes a little longer run. He doesn't get a real good curl off of it. This guy drops way off. So it's a very easy roll right here. That's, if you're using your screener and you move them, you keep those guys honest on defense. If you don't, they'll just drop off and play the cutter. Okay, now here it is, a pass, but the pass was bad. It's deflected, and at this point, the play is broken. If had they made the pass right and got the ball to the guy and he got a shot, that would have been part of the play. Now the play is in breakdown, and they do this pretty quick because of the clock. Guy goes out to the corner. This shot is marked under play, breakdown. So you have a play, and then it breaks down, so you do not award any points or anything to the play, but you do count it. And at this point now, the shot that's going to be taken is in breakdown. So you have to award that shot to breakdown, made or missed, and where it's taken from, uh, to the breakdown. I want to repeat this because I have to be very clear with you that there is a difference. There's a point that they can get the shot off their play or they can get it off of their breakdown. But to be accurate in evaluating your plays and your breakdown, you have to be able to make that decision, which we will make right now. Shot, and then notice where the offense goes. I know Golden State's a very good team, but this just bothers me to no end. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nobody even contesting them. Missed shot, they just give it up. I just have a problem with that. But there you see the first example of a play that breaks down, shot taken in the breakdown. That'll be the end of that session. Okay, this is actually that rebound off of that missed shot. And they'll show you some of the difficulty you have with the way people are doing offensive rebounding now. Not all teams, in fact, a lot of the good teams are using offensive rebound. But at any rate, we have a decision to make here. This, really is not a fast break, but you almost have to call it a fast break because it came off a defensive rebound and they are pushing the ball down. So let's call it a fast break. But right here, they have enough people back, Golden State. So any score here or any shot taken is going to be on transition, not on the fast break. And I wanted to try to make that clear because it is a little iffy. And there's a gray area there with the way that they got the ball. And but in order to be accurate, they got it on a defensive rebound. This is a fast break, even though it's kind of a slow break after a defensive rebound. It's just that they had all of their people back. And we'll take a look now at what happened. So all this action right here is in transition, not in the fast break. You award the fast break, you count it, but you don't give it anything, points of any kind, and you go to transition and mark that you're running now a transition. You make sure you count this. Now here is typical transition. It looks like it was a post-up play, but it's not. It's just the guy posted up and they threw to him. So we're still in transition. But I want to point out what they do, a lot of teams, when what we call the third element is they are improvising, but it's kind of like pickup ball, where you either isolate or you do a post up. There's not much team movement in this play, in this transition. It's a shot taken. Now that goes in transition. It's a miss, and we had the same thing going back. But now those are two examples. This is the second example. Fast break to transition, shot taken in transition, even though there was very little movement in the transition. You, you see other teams, and there's a lot of movement, but this particular uh, situation, there wasn't any. It still is, though, transition. Okay, we aren't even 2 minutes into the game, and I've seen one breakdown, and now we're going to see a fast break to transition that looks a lot like the last fast break to transition. But I want you to see it. I don't have to point out as much now because I made my point pretty clear. Fast break. They're a little more organized. You'll see they're going to run a screen down over here. And I think they have some organization in their transition. But this is transition. Here's a little pick here. Now, now this is what I want to point out to you. This is why transition is so effective. They attacked. See, they just didn't post up and everybody. This guy's on the attack, and even though their people are there, they're back, so they could say, well, we got back, but they're not really ready to play defense. Does this guy really know what to do? What's this guy doing? What's he doing? And the result is, now remember, this is transition, layup, and a foul. Now, um, that happened. There's still 15 seconds left on the clock. And there was about I think if I remember right, they ran it down to about uh, 18 when he got the pass, 18, 17, 18. So you see another example, fast break to transition. Okay, I like this next sequence a lot better. I think you're going to see a fast break to transition that is a little bit more in line with what you really think of as a fast break. This is Curry shooting from the corner. They're in transition, by the way. Well, actually, they were in no play, but uh, a miss. Now, this is the way you should run a fast break. I mean, this is the way you get a fast break. See this now. See a lot more pressure on these guys. There's three guys back, but I don't think they're in any position. Now let's take a look at the clock. 21 seconds. So 3 seconds have gone by. This is a legitimate fast break if they score off of it. But now, see this? Now the defense is come back. And that's pretty normal in a game. You don't see many 3-on-2s or 2-on-1s in basketball in a game on fast break. This is what you see. It's kind of a mismatch, but still it's very effective because the defense is very vulnerable. Um, and this really occurs in transition by our definition of it. But the attack, I want you to see the attack and the shots you're going to get off of it. A really nice shot. It was contested, but it was a late contest. I would have just given that a 1. It was, and you see, they scored within maybe 7, 8 seconds, running both a fast break and a transition. A good example for it. Okay, this play, it was after a made, is going to be a little different, but I use it just because I want to show you the decisions and how you apply them when things aren't just perfectly like they're drawn out. This will be a play. Now what this is just a basic post-up play, very traditional really. He hits the wing. But now here's the key. The key is right here. This is the play. This is a part of the play when this guy, the post-up man, gets the ball. We practice that in, for our monk offense. And this is exactly what they're doing. But what throws it off is this guy fumbles the ball. Now, under normal circumstances, I would call this a breakdown. The play broke down. But the reason I don't, is because these guys are still running the play. Now, it's just like the post-up man, you see a lot of them take a step out and turn and face. There's a little bit of space here. But I call this as part of the play. It's a judgment call. But in my mind, these guys are running the play. He just bobbled the ball a little bit. But it gets better. Okay, the curl off of that pick, which I really don't care much for in our offense, but they get the ball to him. The second pass right here is the guy rolling. They curled and rolled, which usually doesn't work, but this time it worked. So now this is still the play, okay? But the guy strips the shooter, so that's a turnover. So here's how it would be graded. You count the play. If you were drawing it up, you have to draw it up. If you were just counting the play, it would count as one play, and then a turnover in the play. Not in the breakdown, but in the play. That was a little bit of a tricky call, and I just wanted you to see that these are things you're going to have to make decisions on. Okay, this is actually coming off of that steal. So now this is a fast break by Brooklyn after a steal. Now, look over here on the clock. That's a steal fast break. That's that's as organized as it probably ever gets. But it was only 4 seconds took place, and he's taking his shot already. But it isn't the steal. I wanted to point that out to you, but you can see by the clock that's a real fast break. But he got the shot in 4 seconds. So what happens after this is what I want to point out to you. They're battling for the ball here. Now it starts to go out of bounds. This guy saves it. Okay. Now that's really an offensive rebound. Now, what happens after an offensive rebound if they don't get a putback or shot is what you're going to have to grade. Now, they're getting the ball. It looks like that guy on the clock was pretty quick uh, with 23 seconds. And now you see this guy is, I don't know whether he's calling something or he wants to set a pick for that guy, but it isn't a play. They're not setting it up. It may look like it. No, now you see he is actually the ball handler, probably point guard, is telling that guy to post up. They think they got a mismatch, and they probably do. But that's not a play. That's a no play. So far, all of this is a no play. Offensive rebound, throw it out. They don't set up. It's a no play. It's not a breakdown. All of this is part of the no play. And the score, the basket goes to no play. It's very important that you know these distinctions because you want to get accurate evaluations. You're going to find that at the end of the game, things like no plays, breakdowns, transition score a lot of points. And so I wanted you to see this particular no play because it's one that happens a lot. Here is another example of a no play. See, he made a signal. They're actually going to run a play. But as I told you, sometimes they have a play to run, they don't run it. But this is just a case of almost good luck. Steal, potential, he gets it back, shot. That basket is under no play for Golden State. Uh, you'll see this. This is the kind of stuff that's happening in a ball game. It isn't like you practice.
Well, I hope you can see the decision-making process in determining the value of your plays, value of the third element section. I think it shows it pretty well. And remember, all of this was in 3 minutes and 35 seconds of an NBA game. It confirms the amount of time that you have to be forced into playing playground ball, pickup ball, but I prefer to call it improvisation. Though in these films there wasn't a lot of improvisation. If you had a team that could run the monk offense in those particular times, you'd see a lot of improvisation. Well, that's it for for this session. And the next session, probably I will show on Thanksgiving Day, because that's the day when you're all off. No one is working, and it's a good time to catch up on some of these things. See you next time, and thank you for watching.